Go.
Hey guys, I'm Sierra, and we're going to do a few problems today. So one of the problems that we have is y cubed plus 8. Now this is the sum of two cubes, and we're going to simplify it. So we're going to find a number that whenever you multiply each of the coefficients, like they equal like this. So as you know, like if you multiply y, you get y cubed, and if you multiply 2 like 3 times, you get 8. So you would do the first y, which goes into that, and then 2, which goes into 8 over there. And then we're going to put the rest of the equation that needs to be simplified into the form of a plus ab plus b squared form. So that would be y squared plus 2y plus 4. A common mistake would be that, like, with the last number, you wouldn't square it, like, because whenever, like, since the last thing is b squared, you have to square the number, and the number that you would get would be 2 because it goes into 8 3 times, and some people won't square it, so they would just put 2. So the next problem that we have is 25x squared minus 20xy plus 4y squared. And so since we have two coefficients, we have to put them on each side of the parentheses whenever we do it. But before we do that, we have to take the 25 and put it over and multiply it by the 4y squared, because 25, like, we have to leave the x squared by itself. So we're going to move this over, and we're going to get x squared minus 20 x to the y, not x to the y, but xy, plus 100 y squared. Now, like the other problems that we have done, we're going to take 100 and find two numbers that whenever you multiply them, you get 100, and whenever you add them, you get negative 20. And so those two numbers would be negative 10, negative 10, because whenever you add them, you get 20, and multiply them, you get 100. And so, like I said earlier, you have to put the two coefficients on the sides of the parentheses. So you would get x minus 10y, and then x minus 10y. And now, since we had moved this over, we have to take it and divide it by our number over here. So we divide each by 25. And since these two have a common multiple of 5, we can divide each of them by 5. And you would get 2 for the top and 5 for the bottom. And 2 for the top and 5 for the bottom. And then, since this is a fraction, we're going to move the 5 in the bottom over to the x. And then you would get 5x minus 2, 5x minus 2. And since both these are the same, we're just going to combine them. And we're going to get 5x minus 2 squared. And that would be your answer. A common mistake people would make is that they wouldn't divide this number by 25. But, like, you can't do that, since, like, you have to, like, put that into it, or else it's not right. So the next equation we're going to do is we're going to factor by grouping. So the problem that we have is p squared q minus 25q plus 3p squared minus 75. And now, since we have 4 different coefficients, we're going to split it up into 2 different groups. So that's a plus. And so we're going to have to factor out the greatest common greatest common factor. And so we're going to take out q because that's the greatest common factor. So then you get p squared minus 25. And then over here, we're going to do the same thing. And since both of these have 3 in common, we're going to take that out. And we're going to do a plus 3 p squared minus 25. Now, since this is a perfect square, we're going to square root both of these. This is the same thing, so we're going to square root both of these. And we're going to get q p plus 5, p minus 5. And then we get plus 3, p plus 5, p minus 5. And so now we're going to take these two coefficients and we're going to put them together so that they're in a parentheses. So we get q plus 3. And then with these we're going to combine like terms. So you would get the p plus 5 and p plus 5 together. And then you get the p minus 5 and p minus 5 together. And that would be your answer. But like a mistake that most people would do is that they would, instead of adding these together and like, I mean not adding them, but like combining them as like terms, they would multiply them. So they would they would put the squared here, which that's not correct. So like, you wouldn't end up getting this answer. So yeah.